Hey, good Wednesday morning to you. It's great to see you today. Thank you for tuning in to Coffee with the Pastor. And do you realize that things are not always as they seem to be? Things are not always as they seem to be. We look at situations, we look at people. Of course, we compare ourselves among ourselves, even though we're not supposed to do that. And we think, man, if I had their life, if I had their house, if I had their job, if I had. Again, though, just because the picture is painted and we only see maybe the good in that situation or that person or their life, and we think if only I had their life, then things would be perfect. There is no perfect situation, and things are not always as they seem to be. In the book of Genesis, chapter number 37. You know the story well. Joseph, he was actually captured by his brother and his brothers, and they sold him into slavery. The brothers who were jealous of Joseph, and so they brought back his coat, dipped in goat's blood to their dad, because they were like, what are we going to tell Dad? And so this is what happened. And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of the goats and dipped the coat in blood. And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father. This is Joseph's coat they brought to their father. And they said, this have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's coat or not. Is this Joseph's coat? It's got blood all over it. We found it. And the father, Joseph's father, Jacob, he knew that it was his son's coat, and he immediately says, an evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob then rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and his daughters rose up to comfort him. But he refused to be comforted, and he said, for I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. Jacob didn't see a body. Jacob just assumed that his son Joseph was rent in twain by some evil beast and that his son was dead. He assumed he knew a situation. He read into it. He thought he knew, by the evidence he saw, what was really going on. And in reality, that was not what was going on at all. So we often look at situations, again, we look at people, we look at things in life and think, we know what's going on there. And many times, even without knowing the full story, we think we know the full story. Again, we often presume that we know all about it just by gathering a few facts. But it's important to know the full story. And the full story in Joseph's case was his brothers had sold him into slavery, and then he ended up in Egypt. And then later on, there would come a famine. And again, all this time, Joseph's father Jacob thought he'd been dead now for some time, but yet Jacob was still mourning and still grieving. But there would come the time when the famine struck that Jacob would send his boys down to Egypt for food, and there they would encounter their brother Joseph. And then later Jacob would come and be reunited with his son that he thought was dead, that he had spent all these years mourning for him and crying for, and because he just assumed that his son was dead, but his son was not dead. That tells us that we should investigate. We should look closer. We should look behind the curtain, if you will, because everything that is presented isn't always the truth. And that's why it's important to be vigilant about finding out the truth, and also not just quickly coming to a conclusion or a judgment about someone or some situation until we know the complete story. God bless you. Hope you have a great Wednesday. Hope to see you in church tonight at the First Pentecostal Church at Baton Rouge. Starts at 7 o'clock. God bless you. Thank you for watching today, Coffee with the Pastor.